Peter Hunkeler, inspector with the Basel City CID, came out of the Milchhäusli onto Missionsstrasse. It was early in the morning of 27th of October, midnight to be precise. He looked at the clock on the wall of the inn before heading out. There was a shimmer of white in the air, cast down from the street lamp in the fog. The end of October, and already the town was grey and wet, just like the beginning of December. Hunkeler felt a need to pee. The sudden cold, he thought, inside it to be nice and warm, not just because of the heating, but also because of all the people sitting round the regular table, one next to the other like beasts in the cowshed. He wondered whether to go back inside to the toilet. He crossed the road to the Turkish pizzeria and looked in through the windows of the billiard centre. He saw the artist Gerhard Laufenburger sitting at the round table with his girlfriend Nana. He didn't want to see them that evening, so he headed off towards Burgfelder Platz. After he'd taken a few steps, he came to the cantonal bank on the corner that had a little tree in a tub outside. He thought the plant was ridiculous, either a tree or no tree, rather than an apology for a tree. But now the little tree was just what he needed. He went over to it and pissed on the slim trunk. Bloody prostate, he thought. By now he couldn't even hold his water for the few hundred yards to his apartment. He turned his head and saw a dark figure sitting on the stone bench in the corner, leaning against the wall. He went over to see who it was. It was Harty, the old vagabond who always had a diamond in his left earlobe. He appeared to be asleep, mouth open. Hunkeler sat down on the damp seat beside him, grasped the collar of his jacket and turned it up. He looked across the square where there was nothing but fog. Shitty weather, Hunkeler said. Shitty town, shitty time of year. He looked back at Harty, who wasn't moving. His false teeth had a strange white glow. My Hedvig, Hunkeler said, is a lousy bitch. When you need her, she isn't there. At the moment she's away in Paris studying the Impressionists. Sabbatical, that's what she calls it, for 3 months, to recharge her batteries. Being a kindergarten teacher is obviously an extremely stressful job. Normal holidays aren't enough for you to recover. You need an extra 3 months further study in Paris to be able to withstand the psychological pressure of the brats. That's a quarter of a year. He spat on the wet asphalt and lit a cigarette, took a drag, coughed, and leant back against the wall. I'm finding it a real effort getting through this dreary time, he said. Not smoking too much, not drinking too much beer, not going to bed too late. I could use a sabbatical too. Just imagine, Manet's women in the park with their lovely hats and white blouses, and the sunlight falling through the foliage. And now, just look across this square and what do you see? Just muck. Hardy still wasn't saying anything. He'd leant his head back, his eyes half open. It almost looked as if he wasn't breathing. Hunkeler suddenly felt a chill on the back of his neck. He got to his feet, grabbed the man's upper arms and tried to pull him up, but he was too heavy. At least Hunkeler managed to heave him up so far that his head tipped back as if it wasn't firmly attached anymore. A sharp wound appeared across his throat, going from one side to the other. The left earlobe had been slit. He had a closer look to see if the diamond was still there. It wasn't. He let the man's corpse drop back down and went to the little tree to throw up. He didn't want to, but he had to. He took some fast, deep breaths, forcing the stuff back down that was still coming up. He wiped his chin and forehead with his handkerchief. They were suddenly dripping with sweat. He could feel himself swaying. For a moment he thought of running off, going to the billiard centre and joining Laufenburg, as if nothing had happened. Then he took his phone out of his pocket and called the emergency number.